everyone. We're at the breakdown of day 6, and started trying to code my own game using Godot. So, and then immediately ran into issues. So instead of me talking to you in the camera, I think I'll just show you. Okay? So let's do that. Okay, before we hop into the project, I want to get into this. My cruddy little game design document. So basically, here's like my overview of what I think the game's going to be and things that I need. So concept, space shooter, study area, blah, 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 expand your life. Basically, I'm looking at like an asteroids type game. Art style, just so I know, dark colors with bright effects. Features, I want to have score, a difficulty question mark. That just means is increasing difficulty over time, is that going to be too much? Is implementing this going to push the timeline that I want on this? So I put it in there just to keep it in my mind, and I'm like, if I find that I have extra time or that I can implement it easily, I'll do it. But if I can't, I'm cutting it. Obviously, movement, shooting. I want shooting. That's something that wasn't in the 2D tutorial I just went through. Enemy spawns. I want enemies to spawn in, obviously. I want a timer. And I want the player to have multiple lives, 3 lives, classic arcade type stuff. Movement. I'm going to get into what exactly I ran into with this when I hop over to the actual project. Movement, ship rotates towards mouse location, arrow keys, and WASD keys move the ship. I'll go more into how I want that to work when I hop over the project. I don't want to go through every single thing in here. But basically what this game design document does, even though it's not very helpful if I were to share it with like a team of people, it really lets me know how big the project's going to be, because I even have anticipated Godot scenes. So I'm going to need a player, I'm going to need a projector, I'm going to need a spawner, I'm going to need a HUD, I'm going to need main game scene, I'm going to need obstacles, one for each type because I want different obstacles. Enemy, I don't know if I'm going to do this because this involves maybe some AI logic or some find my player and try to shoot at them logic, and I don't know if that's within the scope of what I want to do for this. Sound needs, so I need audio feedback for the player. So things like a background noise, a noise for when the player hits the thruster, a noise for player shoots, a noise when the projectile impacts on something, noise for when things get destroyed, a noise when the player loses their life, a game over sound. So these are all things I have to consider. And HUD, score, timer. I'm going to use a timer as a multiplier on score. So the longer you live, the more points you get. And then I need to track the number of lives on the screen so the player knows. And then I need to have a start button. So if you've never done game design before, one thing is if you do a game design document, even if it's something simple like this for your own needs, you quickly know something that you thought was a simple game can actually build out to be something quite complex that needs a lot more apps than you thought. So this kind of, for me anyways, tells me the direction I want to go to and like the box I want to stay in, and I don't want to deviate from that and risk feature creep, which can really unfamiliar feature creep. Basically it means, oh, what if I just add this one more thing to the game? Oh, what if I just add this? And then before you know it, you've added 10 extra things to the game, and it's taken a lot longer for you to finish your project than you thought. And that might be fun, but personally, I want to finish this project and get on to the next project so I can take what I can learn from this and move on to the next one. So let's hop over to the project so I can go over what problem I ran into immediately when trying to do this. Okay, so here's the project. You'll notice you bear right now. That's because I ran into a problem. So I will just zoom in right here on my player. So here's my player. He's a simple little pixel thing. He doesn't animate. He doesn't need to animate right now. I might do that, I might not. But what I ran into is movement. Movement was the first thing I wanted to get done because movement is how the player interacts with the world that I'm putting them in. So let me hop over to my awful code, and I'll try to explain what happened. So this is just, I ended up taking out a lot of things. So basically, at the end of today, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere with this. I need to feel like I just am headed in a direction. So I had a bunch of like spaghetti code in here that was just nothing. So this is just basic movement. I'm not keeping the player on the screen right now. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just moving them around. I think if I just hit play, I'm just moving them around. Nothing fancy. This is almost exactly, I think it is the exact movement that they had in the test project, in the 2D, my first 2D game tutorial. So see, nothing overly fantastic here. Just basic 8-way movement. But what I would like this to be able to do, let me exit out of this, is I'd like to have this player constantly shifting towards mouse location, and I want the mouse location to be a crosshair or a circle or something, so that way the player can use it to aim. So I want the player shift to constantly be rotating towards the mouse position, and I want the arrow keys or the WASD keys to still move the player, but still move the player in the 8 directions. But I think what this would allow to do is to do some really cool, like spaceshipy things, like I like hover over an asteroid or an enemy like this, and then hit like the A and D, left and right keys, to like strafe around the obstacle. I think that would be some really cool movement. The problem I'm running is I also want to like do like an acceleration and a deceleration instead of just straight, I'm adding a speed to you, and that's the problem I'm running into. And it's just it's difficult for me right now. It's way beyond what the tutorial went through, and I'm gonna have to assess how I move forward from here. As far as movement is concerned, if I have to, I'll simplify it for the sake of moving forward. But that's where I'm stuck on. I made things overly complicated for movement, and now I'm stuck at this point. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing for me to be stuck at this right now. Because if I push through this and I do happen to learn this, it's a learning process. I'm learning more about the Godot engine and how I can use the tools it provides me to do what I want it to do. But it's frustrating because I'm not moving forward. Like this is what I have to show for. But I have to remind myself this is only the first day of this project, so I can't get too frustrated. I can't get too down on myself because I am still learning, and this is beyond my skills right now, and that's fine. And I'm sure the information to solve this problem is out there. I just haven't found it yet. But without further ado, let me tell you what my plans are for the next day of this challenge. Yep. So that's the issue I ran into. I'm gonna give it one more day to figure out this movement to make significant progress on my movement problem. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to go for a much simpler movement solution and then make the game around that, because I don't want to get hung up on movement one more time. So I'm going to do some research, see if I can find some resources on exactly what I want the movement to be. And if I can't find it, or if I can't push forward on this movement, I'm going to stop, move forward. Okay, that's the plan. Bye, everyone.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.